I talk to a lot of people who want to change the world, or want to save the world, more accurately. But they're not necessarily concerned about making money. And to be a successful entrepreneur, there has to be a profit motive. Not that you're going to make money from the get-go, because most entrepreneurs don't. It can take them years to get on their feet. But it's very rare that you come across a company that's able to do both. And the way that Alec came across this idea is one of those examples of, if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur and you don't have that idea, that's fine. But you need to be aware that the idea may come to you in a place where you're not expecting it. And this is a great example of that. Alec went to school at Westmont. Another criticism of colleges is, that, especially liberal arts colleges, even if they have a business school, is that they don't prepare students for the real world. And Alec's a great example of why that's not true. Are your parents here? Yeah. So I was hoping your parents were going to come, because I wanted to tell them, if they were done with you, I'll adopt you. He's just such a nice guy. He was doing so many wonderful things. So before I give him too big a head, I'm just going to have him come up. Alec Avedissian.
Right. So how's everybody doing? So I've never talked in front of a microphone, so I'm not your typical speaker out of it. I am the owner of a company called RAREFORM. What we do is we take freeway billboards and we turn them into bags. So we upcycle instead of recycle. So we actually take the vinyls themselves that would otherwise go to the landfill. We turn them into backpacks, surf bags, snow bags, wallets, items like that. Before I get started telling you about that, I'll kind of put on an intro video so you guys can see it.
RAREFORM exists to find creative ways to wave, mountains, rivers, the environment. We found something pretty remarkable. We upcycle outdoor advertising billboards and turn them into light, durable, waterproof, unique bags. Our first product being a circular bag. The process itself starts when we intercept these billboards before they reach the landfill. We then wash, cut, and sew each bag meticulously right here in California. No two billboards are alike. No two products that we have coming out are like the one before. The idea behind this is to just do something a little bit better and care a little bit more about the products. Our goal is to be an eco-friendly company that is really pushing the boundaries on what's next, and we're just getting started.
That's short, what we do. Most people don't understand what the actual billboard vinyl is and feels like. But one of the things that the story about RAREFORM is how it got started, and I thought that's kind of what I was going to talk about today, is being inspired as an entrepreneur. A lot of times, especially as an entrepreneur or somebody that's starting a business, you're always on a roller coaster of getting really high on something or getting really low on how the product or the project is going. And so one of the things that Mike was talking about that I got started was, I got really into making money when I came out of college, and so I went and worked for an investment bank for a while. And it was pretty terrible. So then I went and worked for a renewable energy company, and it was a little bit better, but it was still pretty terrible. So then I decided, what I really love to do, and I love surfing. So I need to take time off from life and get back to what I love, and I love surfing. So I decided first to travel through South America for 2 months. I did a backpacking trip with 4 buddies, and we traveled from Argentina all the way to Colombia, just backpacking. And then after that, I still didn't have enough of it, so I decided, I need to go back. So I found a nonprofit that I wanted to work with in El Salvador. And so I moved to El Salvador. I was working with a fishing company, like a cooperative of people, take the fish to market. And when I was there, I was spending all my time surfing or playing soccer with my friends, and we ended up stealing a lot of these billboards. So we would, after soccer games, we would steal this material. And at the time, I didn't really know what it was. It was just fun to take them down with the guys. And we were using them as roofing for a lot of the guys in the community because they're waterproof. So when we were there, we kind of started putting together, asking them about it. And one of my friends had made a tote bag out of the materials we were using And finally, one day, I was like, you know what would be really cool is if we stitched up a surf bag out of this. I don't know anything about sewing, let's try to give it a shot. So we made a surf bag, and it looked pretty rad. And so I came back after the 6-month trip, and we ended up showing it to a few guys and all of our friends, and our family's big into surfing. And it ended up being that we got a meeting with Patagonia about the surf bags. So for us, our first retailer that we got on board, actually we started selling product to, was Patagonia stores in the US and Japan for something as simple as a surf bag. So now RAREFORM is sold into places like Urban Outfitters, Zoomies, all the way to, we sell in Whole Foods, all the way to your local surf and skate shop. So for us, we took something that was a huge trash to the world of advertising and marketing, and we turned it into something else. A lot of people ask me, well, you know, how did you come across the material? Like, how did you get the contracts for this? I had no idea what I was doing. So I just picked up the phone because I don't have a problem getting turned down. I guess I had like a naive positivity about myself. So we ended up taking meetings with, you know, Clear Channel and Lamar and Regency, some of these other major advertisers. And we pitched it to them the best we could on, hey, you guys have all this trash. There's 600,000 tons of billboard a year that goes to waste. And the material can't be recycled. So, just so you guys know, billboards are, if I'm going to, am I talking way too fast?
No.
Okay. Billboards are made of PVC, so it's like a 3-ply like plastic sheeting. And what that does though, because they're different, they're glued together, they melt at different temperatures. What that means is it can't be recycled, it can only be upcycled for us. So these guys were literally just throwing it into the landfill, and so they were having to pay huge costs to throw away this material because it's based on poundage. So we said, we can save you guys a ton of money. You guys are making a ton of money. Let us make you money. Because that's really what I was in the business of, and that's why, in order for this to be successful and the business to work, we had to make money, and they needed to make money. So we ended up pitching it to like 3 of the major advertisers, and now we have a contract with Lamar Advertising, which is actually the US, the largest national outdoor advertiser. So we have a contract of taking all their billboards, and we can't take almost any of it. So just to give you guys an example of how much, like one billboard is 14 by 48 feet. So that's like from here to the end of the room. So out of one billboard, we can get 8 surf bags or a few hundred wallets. And for us, the material for these guys is we do all of the receiving and the operations, and then as soon as we got the contract, we said, well, crap, now we have the contract, that's great, but we don't know anything about manufacturing. So then we had to go around and try to figure out how do we start a manufacturing company. We don't know anything about sewing. So just kind of what we did is we started asking people, like, it started off simply with me going to actually a car upholstery guy and saying, hey, can you make a bag for us? And then he knew somebody else, and he knew somebody else. And before we know it, now we actually have 3 manufacturing facilities within California, and we have 2 overseas. The manufacturing here, we do 1 in Ventura County, we do actually 1 in Ventura, we do 1 in Ontario, and we do 1 down in San Diego. So we have 3 facilities. But that's taken, and we're still constantly improving the manufacturing. By far the biggest issue and hurdle for us as a business, and most businesses, is getting the operations done. I feel like, at least for me and a lot of entrepreneurs, is if you have a good story and you're willing to tell people about it, it'll kind of sell itself. But the big piece is we have the product and the price that can really make it work in the market. So that's kind of what we've done on the operations side, is now that we've scaled, we're able to enter bigger and bigger chains. I'm going to show you guys some photos of the products you guys can see. So what we've done now actually is a lot of people have taken products and they've made them into something else. But there's a company based in Europe that we really look to for like our inspiration. It's a company called Freitag. Have you guys ever heard of them? A lot of people in other places have. What they do is they use truck tarps and they turn those into bags. Their company itself, like a backpack for them, goes for $250. And being that, one, we couldn't afford it. I'm not rich enough to pay $250 for a backpack, and we wanted to sell it to the masses. Our backpacks retail around $65, so we wanted to compete on that space. So these are some of our products. Surf bags. This was a photo he was actually won the Red Bull Challenge for photography. This was in Iceland. These are photos just from all over. This is our process. These are some of our guys. And then we'll show you guys some products. So these are some of the surf bags. I'm just showing you guys our catalog here. But this is, for example, something that we didn't know anything about when we were going into the business. We started calling people and say, hey, you guys want to buy the product? And then it became, well, you guys have a catalog. So we're like, okay, we need to create a catalog. We need to create marketing. And granted, luckily, a lot of it is what we've worked in before. But this is what a typical retailer will get. So weekend duffel bags, backpacks, just kind of going through them so you guys can see them. So we mix, one of the things that we decided was in order for us to be price competitive, what we do is we mix a lot of the products with a virgin material. And that's what's been able for us to enter the market at a low price point, which has enabled us to gain market share right now. Another thing for us is, these are laptop and iPad sleeves. Backpacks. The good old-fashioned hip packs. These are actually doing really well. I don't know why. We sell a lot of these in Venice. I don't know why. In San Francisco, we sell a lot. Wallets, back to school stuff, and then for us is like, so the big thing for us coming into marketing for us is we needed to have, we're a story brand, and that's kind of something we pride ourselves on. So if you had a Tom's, like a pair, everybody knows Tom's shoes, right? If you had a Tom's shoes next to a Nike, you didn't know the story, would you ever buy it? Probably not, right? You would say that there's no color on it, the sole of the shoe has no padding, I wouldn't buy it. So kind of what we've done is we said, why would you buy our backpacks that are kind of funky with all the color unless there's a story to it? So we pride ourselves on like kind of when the store or retailer starts with us, they get different pieces of POP, what's called a point of purchase. And we kind of pride ourselves on how our products are displayed in stores. So that's kind of our competitive edge. Yeah, let me think about something else. Do you guys have any questions so far? Yeah, okay. Because we'll kind of go in and out. I think that'll be easier than me kind of telling you guys the story. Yeah.
Why is the virgin material cheaper than the recycled? Is it the labor to do the cutting and all of that? So
yeah, exactly. So it's the labor. So for example, right now for us, just so you guys have an idea, we might make 500 surf bags a month, right? But for us, about all the billboards, they have to be, we don't use any like food, faces, logos, that sort of thing. So a lot of what it comes down to is doing the cutting and the actual labor, the washing, and then the cleaning of the material. Whereas if we were to buy a virgin material, in China and bring it in, you're looking at 50 cents a yard, up to a few dollars a yard for real expensive material.
So if you can make a bigger bag with less cuts.
Exactly.
I've got a great idea for you.
Yeah, so for us, like for example, we do really well on either really small products like wallets because we can stack cut everything, or we do something really well, like we get more competitive. We get more competitive on like our surf bags than the smaller, like medium-sized products. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So electronic billboards are your worst enemy, right?
They would be the worst enemy, except that they've been outlawed.
Yeah.
So,
Just kidding on that one.
No, yeah. It's true though. Yeah.
So, years ago, I was the national sales manager for Healing Leather Body Works. We manufacture orthopedic braces and splits on neoprene.
Okay.
So we actually have the original wetsuit sewers on Earth that used to be with body glue.
Definitely. Body glow's still there.
Yeah, so I'm saying Apollo's still there. So you know how labor-intensive sewing is. Have you considered heat sealing?
Yeah. So actually, we have a heat sealed bag that's coming out. It just wasn't one of the products that we had originally. So when we launched the product, kind of what's been our big thing is, what we said is, there's probably a few, at least right now in the US for like core stores, which is really how a brand gets started, it's getting into the core retailers. So for example, your local surf, skate, snow, or really the grassroots kind of for that, and then getting a few major accounts. For us, we said, hey, we can't really compete against the big players in the backpacks and the price point. But we can compete on the surf bags, and the surf bags, also, if somebody took them in, we knew that the way that they were merchandised in stores, they took up small square foot like space. So we said, hey, if we can go in with a very limited product group, and they really can't say no to it because it's something so different and the price is really competitive and the story works well, then we can get it in. And once we get the product in, we can diversify the product range, and that's what we've been able to do. But to your point, for us right now, we kind of started with the basics, and now we're expanding the product line. So the brand itself started, though, it started just about 2 years ago. So just so you guys know in terms of when the brand starts, it started 2 years ago. And now I want to say we have 6 or 7 sales reps. We also sell internationally to Japan, Europe. Let's see, we sell in China, Australia. A pretty broad range of international distributors, so kind of how we work it. Yeah, next question.
How thick is the raw material possible with mils or 30 mil?
You want to take a 13 ounce. It's based on weight, so it's like ounce, like 11 ounce and 13 ounce with 2 weights.
Wow. Hardcovers.
Exactly, yeah. For us, and this is one thing that people always say to us is, this is what kind of separates us not doing all the things, is that we wanted to create a, really what I'm really into is brands. And I like the marketing of brands, I like becoming something that's like, that passes through time. So what that was is we try to look at, create a brand that's timeless. But in order for us to do that, our goal with the brand is really to inspire the outdoor enthusiasts. So all of the products that we make are geared towards the outdoor enthusiasts themselves. Yeah?
I have 2 questions, and you just kind of speak to the general idea. One, I presume, so you probably have like a contract with your suppliers, right? So you're obligated to buy whatever they're generating. And then you mentioned that you cut out faces and brands, and so that's, so you avoid copyright. So then what do you do with your
With our trash, yeah.
Do you know what your technical recycling rate is? So can you just speak to kind of deal with the challenges of dealing with the supply chain when you lose an element of control?
Yeah, totally. So for us, just to give an idea, we work with a lot of outdoor advertising companies, but our biggest contract is with Lamar. The contracts are a little different based on each company, but for us, just so you guys have an idea, Lamar might have 350 plants throughout the U.S., meaning that the LA branch has their own warehouse or sales team, the Bakersfield branch, the San Diego branch. We only use like 4 or 5 branches right now. So in order for us, like we can grow exponentially, and so we ourselves can't upcycle a huge amount of material. It's only based on how fast we can grow itself. And what we do for our wastage is we found a company that's in Mexico. So we then take our wastage and we ship it to them, and they use them for coverings. So for like shelters and coverings, or a lot of people use them in farming. So that's kind of how we use the product that we don't throw it away. We make it easier though. Yeah.
2 simple questions. The first one is, do you keep the ink on the vinyl?
Do we what, sorry?
Do you keep the ink
Yeah.
on the vinyl, or do you already come?
No, so yeah, so the actual, which I had to shoot out real quick. The actual ink and the design, it stays on the billboard. So, all of that is I don't know the actual term for how it's, printed into the actual PVC itself. But I know it's done through some sort of thermal process. Yeah.
The second question is, how did you take the product to the market the first time around?
Yeah, how do we take it to market? It's a great question. Well, first we got in, a few retailers that were key for us, and then what we just started doing is I literally data mined, because I used to work for investment banks, so I went after all of our distribution companies that I thought were somewhat similar to retailers that might want to carry our product. So I went to say Tom's, distributor list, or I went to a bag company, or I went to a bracelet company that maybe made eco-friendly bracelets. Now I would give it to somebody maybe overseas and outsource it, and say, hey, I need to mine a list for us, and come back and give me my cold call list. So I would literally sit on the phone, and it's something I still do, is I'll sit on the phone for hours on end until my phone dies, making cold calls until we get an appointment, or we show the line, and then we grew that way. But in terms of the actual, like some people ask me, well, how did you guys get into Whole Foods so quickly? I didn't have any idea, so I just picked up the phone. Or I didn't know, for example, how did you guys get into Urban Outfitters, which for us, and it was I just pick up the phone. I mean, for us it wasn't rocket science. I knew that I had worked in sales prior, like online sales for online marketing, and so for us I couldn't be more passionate about a product. Before I wasn't, and so when I heard no, I was like, okay, we're just getting closer to a yes. So that was kind of been our way we got to market. And now the way that we've continued to go to market is that we said, hey, somebody called us and said, hey, we want to rep your product. I said, I don't know anything about reps. And they said, oh. So then somebody would explain it to us. Then I would reach out to like a mentor in another company, or we meet somebody, and we'd say, hey, what's this situation on the rep strategy? So then I knew that most people, I can only make so many calls in a day, but these reps have relationships that we can leverage. If I can find a brand that's in a non-compete sector as us, then I can bring on that rep and show how he can make money. Because really what we're motivated by, when it's all said and done, is money for us, unless it's doing good and making money. We can only do so much unless the company's profitable. So for us, I said, how can the reps make money? And we went to them, showed them the case of how they can make money, and they said, let's bring it on. And they were able to make the calls and use their distribution network. So for example, maybe one of our reps in Virginia Beach, and I can't see any of those accounts except for once a year, he might be able to show the line to 60 of his accounts in 3 weeks' time. And we'll know faster and quicker on that. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you give some data on like how many employees you have and growth rates, and also your investment funding?
Yeah.
Startup funding.
Yeah. So I self-financed the company for the first part of it. I probably put like $60K into the business itself to kind of get us off the ground. And then I had some family members invest, friends and family, in terms of financing. And then we took on a few investment groups actually since then. So we've had a few, we actually raised Series A round, and then we're getting ready to raise Series B round right now. So what we kind of went to our same group of networks, and then from there expanded. They've kind of brought on their own individuals, but that's definitely a huge piece. The other question
Number of employees?
Number of employees. Right now, so the way we work to keep our overhead low is we actually mostly base everybody on contract work. So we have 7 reps, 3 full-time employees, and then we have, I would say probably our contract manufacturing facilities. So a lot of those are contract manufacturing, and I would say some of them we might be 80% of their business, and some of them might be 50%. I would say at any time there's probably like 50 people.
Where's your headquarters?
Santa Monica. Yeah. So we moved to Santa Monica because my wife's a 5th grade teacher, and so she was supporting us the first 6 months to a year. So we moved to Santa Monica, and we started a business there, and it's kind of been working since. Yeah.
I just have a question regarding design and product design. Who does the actual design and development of each piece? Like how many pockets does it have? What is it?
Great question. Yeah, I do that. So pretty much we've kind of had to learn all aspects of it. So when we started the business, I'm trying to think how we kind of just looked at what was selling, or we talked with retailers and said, hey, what things were selling. I don't have a background in design at all, but I design our website, or the catalog, or that sort of thing. I had to learn Photoshop, Adobe, all those kind of programs to then do it. But the actual product itself is all done through us in-house, actually. So we worked with, actually, so this is one thing that that we found actually starting the business. And when I first started the business, I would bring on, we need a contract, we need a guy that's amazing at, design, industrial design, bring him on to do bags. Or we need somebody that was amazing at, let's see, like sales, let's bring on a huge sales agency. So we've tried it, or a huge PR firm. And what we found is that the people that are not invested into it, especially for us as a startup, it just didn't get any love from it. And we could do the same thing even faster and more efficiently if we brought it in-house and did it on our own. So the same thing that we were getting from a guy that didn't know the business on industrial design, we knew how the product worked and how it felt and how to mold it, how to cut it. So we said, his designs are great, but they can't work for our material or our product. It doesn't work. So we ended up losing, that's where we lost a lot of money has been in, outsourcing a lot of pieces that we should have kept in-house from the very beginning.
Have you been approached or considered manufacturing for brands of the actual bands like a Red Bull or
Yeah, totally.
Red Bull bag?
Yeah, and that's another piece of our business actually. So another piece of our business is we do custom pieces. So we just actually shipped out today a big order for like the Energy Council of California. So let's say they had a few hundred billboards and they wanted to create those billboards and turn them into bags themselves. So we do a huge corporate aspect of the business itself. So we've done something for like Red Bull. We have something coming out with Hurley, I think in like 2 weeks. We've done something with Neff, a big, huge brand based in Camarillo. Red Bull. Yeah, that's another really big aspect for us. So we have somebody that does concentrate on that, like a corporate sales side of it. And I think that's a piece that actually has a huge potential for growth.
So in that case, they allow you to use the brand?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we have a lot of things, like for example, there's a big, have you guys ever heard of Spy eyewear? So Spy has, they recently got in a lot of trouble in San Diego for having billboards. Their marketing campaign is, "We'll sit on your face." For the eyewear. And they got in a lot of trouble for those billboards, but they got a lot of press from it. So, but from it, they had to take down those billboards, and they came to us and said, "Hey, can we take these billboards and turn them into like, sleeves for our sunglasses?" So that's something that we have, that's coming out with a product that's nothing like ours itself. Yeah.
I just have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Beyond that, not only are they allowing you to use their brand, are they paying you anything?
Yeah, so the way it works, so a lot of times, if you guys are, I'm like super brand nerdy, so I like brands in general and I follow what they do, is collaboration or a huge piece of the brands. So for that, we all come together and we decide the prices for certain pieces and then we take it to market together. Yeah.
How do you manage the inventory? You got all these sheets that come out, like you got these contracts.
Yeah.
And these sales never go down. It just piles up.
How do we manage it?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Now, that was actually probably one of the biggest headaches. It still is. So for us, kind of what I tell people what we are is really what we are in the company itself is we're a sales agency. We sell the idea of this concept to people, and if people like it, they get behind it. If they don't, we move on. But for us, what we found that we were getting hindered with is a big piece of that is the inventory management, the operation side of it. So what we did is we said, how can we outsource this piece that's keeping us back huge? Because I would literally, when I started the company, I would get orders, and I would stay up to like 3 in the morning, taping boxes, and losing time with my family. I was like, this isn't working. So we now outsource it. The whole inventory management of our system is outsourced to a third-party logistics company. So if somebody, let's say, places an order online, I'll never know. It'll go directly. It'll ping the API of our third-party logistics company. They'll pick the product and they'll ship it out, and it'll arrive the next day. So I don't even touch it. So I don't even touch product anymore. And same thing with our retailers. They'll come to us. We can fulfill their orders to the back end of our site. It automatically ships it to our third-party logistics and then ships out that next day.
So that includes the quality and the uniformity of the design, especially amongst the different locations.
Yeah, so all of them, that's kind of a big piece of it. A lot of it has been how do we maintain the uniformity of it. So we have pretty strict standards when somebody starts with us. It usually takes a few months until they're up to par that we can sell something to market. But what we've done is we've kind of separated out the different manufacturing facilities. So we say, hey, this manufacturing facility makes these products, and they become very specialized in those products. Or this one does these products. So we know that certain products will stay uniform based on the categories that they're in. Yeah, go ahead.
What marketing have you done and what has worked?
Marketing. So a lot of, so we actually don't put any money towards marketing, to tell you the truth. Like on our budget, you'll see it, we don't have a monthly marketing budget. What we have is like giveaways. So we do a lot of it via social, but social's only done so far. So we do a lot of it, at least in our industry, surf, skate, kind of snow market is based on who uses the product. So we do a lot of brand ambassadors. So we get, since we're a story brand ourselves, we try to get people with stories outside in the world. Maybe it's a surfer that runs a nonprofit that does clean drinking water projects. He's got a big following. We then team up with them, or we work with a snowboarder that's maybe in the French Alps with a huge following. So our
social media has proven best.
Yeah, for us, I would say social media-wise, it's proven best in terms of driving sales or driving overall brand perception.
I mean, which social media avenues have you focused on?
Since our brand is very much visual, we do very well on like Instagram or Facebook or those kind of things. But a lot of it is kind of what it comes down to for us on the other aspects of trying to become like a thought leader in that. And whether it's upcycling, eco-conscious, consumerism, surf, skate world, that whole prospect. Any other questions?
Trade shows?
Trade shows are huge for us, yeah. Trade shows are really big.
You go?
Yeah, we go. So we go, we're going to a new one, just so you guys, we're doing something called CAMX, which is a college trade show. What we found is we've done really well in the surf and action sports, but people that like our product are more college-age kind of consumers, so we're now entering the college bookstore market, actually. Our big thing is we kind of try to concentrate on different verticals. So we stay in the surf, skate, we do the college market, we do corporate orders, and we try to hit different verticals in order for us to funnel the revenue.
Since you're doing business with retailers, so I assume you have contracts based on volume now, would that be an accurate assumption?
And the reason why is because the way it works for us as an accessory company, or whether it's an apparel company that you like, for us right now, our deadline for booking back to school, for product that's going to arrive on 6/1, so June 1st, our deadline for booking that is 2/15, so in the next 2 weeks. So we'll get all the POs in from all of our accounts saying, hey, if you guys want the product, this is the deadline. Otherwise, we don't guarantee you'll get the product.
Just basically,
Yeah.
You've taken Series A, Series B, so sometime the VCs are going to come to you and they're going to start talking about you as a first-time CEO, and they're going to want you to get a more experienced CEO come in and help you.
Yeah.
What kind of guarantees do you have to keep those guys at bay and continue to control the business? Do you think about that?
I don't know. I think for us right now, one of the big things that people have, the reason why they brought us on until recently is we've done, this with a two-guy team. That's kind of something we pride ourselves on. So for us going forward, I would love to get somebody in that has huge experience in retail, or because if I had my, I don't like doing some of the aspects of the business, right, but I have to do them. But if I had my option, I would love to just do sales all day long. So at some point, if it's better for the business, then that's kind of the way I would look at it. Because hopefully for us, unlike maybe it's a widget or something that we're making. For us, the reason why I like brands, like I was saying, is one, because it inspires people. And that's something that I try to look for on a daily basis, and that's why I started the company RAREFORM, because I was inspired by my friends. I was inspired by what I saw, and I try to be inspired on a daily basis in order to keep the momentum, high or on a positive note. So I think for us, the big thing is brands in itself is, I like a system that's timeless, you know, so if it means that I have to step out of it, but I can see something, you know, down the road with a name on it, it would mean a lot more to me. I don't know, it may be different for everybody.
So how much money did you raise A and B and did you make a profit?
We just about made a profit, but we doubled the business for the last, from the year before, we were 2.5 times over last year. The investments were around 300 to 500K. We've only done Series A. We haven't done Series B.
That's why they were debating the CEO. They're investing. They won't give you 20 million.
No.
How old is your company and what's your gross revenue?
Gross revenue, that's something we kind of keep in, you know.
Okay.
But let's see, how old it is? The company's 2 years. So for us, let's just say, I'll give you an idea though, for us, just so you have an idea on the growth trajectory for the company. For us, we might be in, Journeys is a huge retailer, a huge national chain. You know, they might have 1,000 or 1,200 doors. Maybe our test for the first year, usually they start brands at like 10 or 20 door tests, and then they'll go from 10 or 20 door tests to 100 door tests, and then 200 door tests, and then pretty soon you're at 1,000 doors. So that's kind of the way we work with the larger chains. So for example, like a Zumiez or something, they have like 750 doors. We might start at 20 doors. But the growth trajectory, you can see within the first month or two if you get a reorder and what the growth trajectory looks like real fast.
So as you're saying though, in about 2 years you have almost profit, correct? Like,
Yeah.
From nothing to what you have.
Yeah.
How many stores are you in?
On independent, we're probably in like 250 in the US. And then national chains, we're probably in about 10. So all those depend on anywhere from 20 doors to 50 to 100 doors.
Have you had any problems with some of the bigger retailers of getting them to promote your story to help promote product sales? Like those are
No, actually, you know what? The larger the company is, the larger the retailer is, they're more actually involved with trying to tell the story. Whereas your local skate mom and pop shop or something, they might not be as interested. Whereas those guys, their position as a buyer is based on how fast something moves and whether or not the story is told. So they want it to do it as best as they can, obviously, because otherwise their position would be easily filled.
Do you notice a significant difference between a store that does promote the story?
Oh, huge, exponential.
So you said you have a partner.
I have a brother.
Oh.
I have a brother and partner, yeah. He's younger. So I'm 28, he's 24. And he's definitely smart. But yeah, actually one of the biggest things I would say, this is something that I think, I kind of just started the company before just reading. I actually went on to like the Harvard MBA list and I was like, I'm going to start the company by being my own MBA. So I would just, scavenge those lists, read the books, and kind of start that way. And one thing that I kind of got held up on was finding the right partner. And how you can work with the biggest thing, especially at the startup, was trusting somebody for me. And somebody that I, really respected. And so for us, my brother and I got along great. And it's probably been the biggest reason for success.
One more question? Any more questions?
Why RAREFORM?
Why RAREFORM? Yeah, it's a great question, so I'll end with that. So, we couldn't think of a name for the company for the longest time. And I would literally sit, listen to music, and try to write down words or cool phrases that would come. And one day my wife was like, okay, let's talk through like what's the name of it, like the product. And I was like, well, the product's unique, so it's rare, and it's taken on a new form. And then I was like, why don't we put the two words together, RAREFORM? So then we just put the two words together, RAREFORM. And I kind of invest, one of the things I do on the side is I invest in like domain names. So the domain name itself, we bought for like $2,000 RAREFORM, which now you can sell your RAREFORM for a decent amount. But yeah, domain investment. how the conversation is.
Let's give Alec a